fans of Examsnet, welcome to the question series of Examsnet. I hope this series of detailed explanation is helping you a lot. Let's start this session. What is integral of dx upon 2x square minus 2x plus 1 equal to? So let I is equal to this expression. We know that integral of dx upon x square plus a square is always equals to 1 upon a into tan inverse x upon a. Therefore, this will be equals to 1 by 2 integral of dx upon x square minus x plus 1 by 2. So this will be equals to 1 by 2 into integral of dx divided by x square minus 2 into x into 1 by 2 plus 1 by 4 plus 1 by 2 minus 1 by 4. So this will be equals to 1 by 2 integral of dx upon x minus 1 by 2 whole square plus 1 by 4, which is equals to 1 by 2 into integral of dx upon x minus 1 by 2 whole square plus 1 by 4 can be written as 1 by 2 whole square. So this will be equals to 1 by 2 into integral of dx upon x minus 1 by 2 whole square plus again 1 by 2 whole square. So it will be equals to 1 by 2 into 1 upon 1 by 2 tan inverse x minus 1 by 2 divided by 1 by 2 plus c. We have used the formula here for integral of dx upon x square plus a square. So it will be equals to 1 by 2 into 2 tan inverse 2x minus 1 upon 2 into 2 plus c. So this will be equals to tan inverse 2x minus 1 plus c. Hence we can say that this is the required answer for this question, and the correct option here is option number D. Moving on to next question. Next question is, what is integral of dx upon x into 1 plus log x power n equal to? And it is also given that here n is not equals to 1. So putting 1 plus log x is equals to t, 1 upon x dx is equal to dt. Therefore, integral of dt upon t power n. So it will be equals to integral of t power minus n dt, which is equal to t power minus n plus 1 upon minus n plus 1 plus c. So it will be equals to minus of 1 upon n minus 1 into 1 plus log x power n minus 1 and plus c, which is a constant. Therefore, we can say that this is the required answer for this question, and the correct option here is option number D. I hope this question is clear to you. Next question is, which one of the following is the differential equation that represents the family of curves y is equal to 1 upon 2x square minus c, where c is an arbitrary constant? So this equation can be also written as 2x square minus c is equal to 1 upon y. So c will be equals to 2x square minus 1 upon y. Since we know that y is equal to 1 upon 2x square minus c, therefore y into 2x square minus c will be equals to 1. Now differentiating it both sides with respect to x, we get y into d by dx of 2x square minus c plus 2x square minus c dy by dx is equal to 0. So y into 4x minus 0 plus 2x square minus c dy by dx is equal to 0. Therefore, we can say that dy by dx will be equals to minus 4xy divided by 2x square minus c. It will be equals to minus 4xy divided by 2x square minus 2x square minus 1 upon y. On further solving, this will be minus 4xy divided by 2x square minus 2x square plus 1 upon y. So it will be minus 4xy divided by 1 upon y, which is equal to minus 4xy square. Therefore, we can say that the correct option for this question is dy by dx is equal to minus 4xy square, which is option number D here. Next question is, the directions are given here. Read the following information and answer the two items that follow. Consider the equation x power y is equals to e power x minus y. What is dy by dx at x is equal to 1 equal to? So, taking log on both sides, we get log x power y is equals to log e power x minus y. Therefore, y log x is equals to x minus y log e. We know that log e is 1. So, y log x will be equals to x minus y. Let this be equation number 1. Now, differentiating it both sides with respect to x, we get y into 1 by x plus log x dy by dx is equals to 1 minus dy by dx from equation number first. Therefore, y will be equals to x upon 1 plus log x. So, log x dy by dx plus dy by dx will be equal to 1 minus y upon x. Therefore, taking dy by dx common, remaining terms are log x plus 1. It is equal to 1 minus y upon x. So, this will be equals to 1 minus x upon 1 plus log x into 1 upon x, which is equal to 1 minus 1 upon 1 plus log x. So, dy by dx will be equal to 1 plus log x minus 1 divided by 1 plus log x into 1 upon 1 plus log x. So, this will be equals to log x divided by 1 plus log x whole square. Let this be equation number 2. Therefore, we can say that dy by dx at x is equal to 1 will be equal to log 1 divided by 1 plus log 1 whole square. So it will be equals to 0 upon 1 plus 0 whole square, which is equal to 0 by 1, which is again 0. Hence, we can say that the correct answer for this question is option number A, which is 0. I hope this question is clear to you. Moving on to the next question, which also has the same directions. What is d square y upon dx square at x is equal to 1 equal to? From the previous question, we know that dy by dx is equals to log x upon 1 plus log x whole square. So, d square y upon dx square will be equals to 1 into log x square into 1 by x minus log x into 2 into 1 plus log x into 0 plus 1 by x whole divided by 1 plus log x whole square. So, this will be equals to 1 plus log x whole square into 1 upon x minus 2 upon x log x 1 plus log x divided by 1 plus log x whole square. Therefore, we can say that d square y upon dx square at x is equal to 1 will be 1 plus log 1 square into 1 by 1 minus 2 by 1 into log 1 into 1 plus log 1 whole divided by 1 plus log 1 whole square. So it will be equals to 1 minus 2 into 0 divided by 1 plus 0 whole square. So it will be equals to 1 upon 1, which is 1. Therefore, we can say that the correct answer for this question is option number B here, which is 1. Next question has the directions. Read the following information and answer the 3 items that follow. So the directions are: consider the function f of x is equal to g of x plus h of x, where g of x is equal to sine x by 4 and h of x is equal to cos 4x by 5. So the first part is, what is the period of the function g of x? The function is given g of x is equal to sine x by 4. We know that the graph for sine is in this way. So this is pi and this is 2 pi and this is for sine x. We know that the period for g of x will be 2 pi upon 1 by 4, which is equal to 8 pi. Therefore, we can say that the correct option here is option number D, which is 8 pi. Moving on to the next part of this question. What is the period of the function h of x? So h of x is given, which is equal to cos of 4x upon 5. So here the period of h of x will be 2 pi upon 4 by 5, which is equal to 10 pi by 4. Again, it is equals to 5 pi by 2. Therefore, we can say that the correct option here is option number C. Next question also has the same directions. Here the part of the question is, what is the period of the function f of x? We know that f of x is equals to g of x plus h of x. So we already found the period of g of x, it is 8 pi, and we already found the period of h of x, it is 5 pi by 2. Now, taking the LCM of 8 pi and 5 pi by 2, the period will be equals to numerator, which is 8 pi and 5 pi by 2, divided by the denominator, which is 1 comma 2. So it will be equals to 40 pi. Therefore, we can say that the correct answer for this question is option number C here, which is 40 pi. Next question has the directions. Read the following information and answer the 2 items that follow. Consider the function f of x is equals to 3 into x power 4 minus 20x cube minus 12x square plus 288x plus 1. In which of the following intervals is the function increasing? So f dash x will be equals to 12x cube minus 60x square minus 24x plus 288, which is equal to 12 into x cube minus 5x square minus 2x plus 24, which will be equals to 12 into x cube plus 2x square minus 7x square minus 14x plus 12x plus 24. So it will be equals to 12 into x square x plus 2 minus 7x x plus 2. We are taking the common terms from first 2, middle 2 and last 2 terms. Again plus 12 and x plus 2. So this will be equals to 12 into x plus 2 into x square minus 7x plus 12. Again factorizing this part, we get 12 into x plus 2 into x minus 3 into x minus 4. Now for f of x to be increasing, we must have f of x is greater than 0. Therefore, 12 into x plus 2 into x minus 3 into x minus 4 is greater than 0. Therefore, x is less than minus 2 or x is greater than 3. So we can say that the values will be minus 2 and 3. So f of x is increasing on minus 2 comma 3. Therefore, the correct option for this question is option number A here. Next question also has the same directions. In which one of the following intervals is the function decreasing? In the previous question, we have found the range in which the function is increasing. Now we have to find for decrease. So f of x is equals to 3x power 4 minus 20x cube minus 12x square plus 288x plus 1. We know that f dash x will be 12x cube minus 60x square minus 24x plus 288. So it will be equals to 12 into x cube minus 5x square minus 2x plus 24. On further solving, this will be 12 into x plus 2 into x minus 3 into x minus 4. We have already found this value in the previous question. Now we know that for the function f of x to be decreasing, f dash x should be less than 0. So 12 into x plus 2 into x minus 3 into x minus 4 is less than 0. Therefore, x minus 3 and x minus 4 will be less than 0. So we can say that x lies between 3 and 4. So the function f of x is increasing on 3, 4. So the correct option here is option number B. I hope this question is clear to you. Next question has the directions. Read the following information and answer the 3 items that follow. Let f of x is equals to x square plus 2x minus 5 and g of x is equal to 5x plus 30. What are the roots of the equation g of f of x is equal to 0? We know that g of f of x will be equal to 0. So 5 into x square plus 2x minus 5 plus 30 will be equal to 0. So 5x square plus 10x minus 25 plus 30 will be equal to 0. On further solving, it will be 5x square plus 10x plus 5 is equal to 0. Now on factorizing this, we can write it as 5x square plus 5x plus 5x plus 5 is equal to 0. Taking 5x common, remaining terms will be x plus 1. Taking 5 common, remaining terms will be x plus 1. So the factors will be x plus 1 and 5x plus 5. So we can say that 5 into x plus 1 into x plus 1 will be equal to 0. So either x plus 1 is equal to 0 or x plus 1 is equal to 0. So in both the cases, x will be minus 1 and minus 1. Hence the roots of the equation g of f of x will be minus 1 comma minus 1. Therefore, the correct option will be option number B here. Next question also has the same directions. Consider the following statements. First statement is f of g of x is a polynomial of degree 3 and second statement is g of x is a polynomial of degree 2. Which of the above statements is or are correct? So f of g of x will be equals to 5x plus 30 whole square plus 2 into 5x plus 30 minus 5. So this will be equals to 25x square plus 900 minus 300x plus 10x plus 60 minus 5, which is equal to 25x square plus 310x plus 955. Here, f of g of x is a polynomial of degree 2. Therefore, we can say that the first statement is not correct. Now, the second statement is g of x. So, g of x will be equal to 5 into 5x plus 30 plus 30. So, it will be equal to 25x plus 150 plus 30, which is equals to 25x plus 180. Here the degree is 1. So statement 2 is also not correct. Hence the correct option for this question is option number D, which is neither 1 nor 2. Next question also has the same directions. If h of x is equal to 5 f of x minus x into g of x, then what is the derivative of h of x? We know that 5 into f of x will be equal to 5 into x square plus 2x minus 5. So it will be equals to 5x square plus 10x minus 25. And x into g of x will be equal to x into 5x plus 30, which is equals to 5x square plus 30x. Therefore, we can say that h of x will be equal to 5f of x minus x into g of x. So substituting the value, it will be 5x square plus 10x minus 25 minus 5x square plus 30x. So it will be equals to 5x square plus 10x minus 25 minus 5x square minus 30x, which is equal to minus of 20x minus 20. Therefore, we can say that h of x is equal to minus 20x minus 20. Now, differentiating both sides with respect to x, we get h of x is equal to minus 20 minus 0, which is equal to minus 20. Therefore, we can say that the correct option for this question is option number B here, which is minus 20. Moving on to the next question. Read the following information and answer the two items that follow. Consider the integral I1 is equal to integral 0 to pi x dx upon 1 plus sin x, and I2 is equal to integral 0 to pi minus x upon 1 minus sin pi plus x dx. First part of the question is, what is the value of I1? So here I1 is given, which is equal to integral of 0 to pi x dx upon 1 plus sin x. Let this be equation number 1. Now it can be also written as I1 is equal to integral of 0 to pi minus x divided by 1 plus sin pi minus x dx. Since we know that integral of 0 to a f of x dx is equal to integral of 0 to a f of a minus x dx. Therefore, I1 will be equals to integral of 0 to pi minus x divided by 1 plus sin x dx. Let this be equation number 2. Now, adding both the equation 1 and 2, we get 2I1 is equal to integral of 0 to pi x plus pi minus x divided by 1 plus sin x and dx. So 2I1 will be equals to pi into integral of 0 to pi 1 upon 1 plus sin x and again dx. Therefore, by using a identity which is integral 0 to 2a f of x dx is equals to integral of 0 to a f of x plus f of 2a minus x dx. So 2I1 will be equals to pi into integral of 0 to pi by 2 into 1 upon 1 plus sin x plus 1 upon 1 plus sin pi minus x and dx. I hope this step is clear to you. Therefore, 2I1 will be equals to pi into integral of 0 to pi by 2 into 1 upon 1 plus sin x plus 1 upon 1 plus sin x and dx. So 2I1 will be equal to 2 pi integral of 0 to pi by 2, then 1 upon 1 plus sin x dx. On further solving, this will be equals to 2I1 is equals to 2 pi into integral of 0 to pi by 2, 1 minus sin x upon 1 minus sin square x. We have multiplied and divided by 1 minus sin x. So the denominator becomes a square minus b square. 2I1 will be equals to 2 pi into integral of 0 to pi by 2 sec square x minus tan x into sec x dx. So 2I1 will be equals to 2 pi into tan x minus sec x, and the limits are 0 to pi by 2. So this will be equals to 2 pi into sine square x minus 1 divided by cos x into sin x plus 1. Again, the limits are 0 and pi by 2. So 2i1 will be equals to 2 pi into minus cos square x divided by cos x into 1 plus sin x, and the limits are 0 to pi by 2. So this will be equals to 2 pi into minus of cos x divided by 1 plus sin x, and the limits are 0 to pi by 2. On further solving this will be equals to 2 pi into 0 plus 1, which is equal to 2 pi. Therefore, we can say that 2i1 is equal to 2 pi. So i1 will be equals to pi. Hence, we can say that the value of i1 is pi. So the correct option for this question is option number C here. I hope this question is clear to you. It was a bit lengthy question, but it is a very, very simple question. Next part of the question is, what is the value of I1 plus I2? We have already calculated the value of I1. So I2 is equals to integral of 0 to pi minus x dx divided by 1 minus sine pi plus x. So it will be equals to integral of 0 to pi dx upon 1 minus sine x minus integral of 0 to pi x dx upon 1 minus sine x. Therefore, I2 will be equals to 2 pi minus I1 from previous question. So we can say that I1 plus I2 will be equals to 2 pi. Hence, the value for this question is 2 pi, which is option number A here. I hope this question is clear to you. Next question is the differential equation which represents the family of curve given by tan y is equals to c into 1 minus e power x is. So we have to find its value. Let this be equation number 1. So differentiating this equation 1 with respect to x, we get sec square dy by dx is equal to c into 0 minus e power x. Here, there will be y also because it is tan y. So we can say that sec square y dy is equal to minus c into e power x dx from equation number 1. We know that c is equal to tan y upon 1 minus e power x. Therefore, sec square y dy will be equal to minus tan y into e power x divided by 1 minus e power x dx. So 1 minus e power x into sec square y dy will be equal to minus tan y into e power x dx. So 1 minus e power x into sec square y dy plus tan y into e power x dx is equal to 0. Therefore, e power x tan y dx plus 1 minus e power x sec square y dy will be equal to 0. This is the required differential equation here. So we can say that the correct option for this question is option number B here. Moving on to the next question. What is the derivative of 2 power sin x whole square with respect to sin x? So let u is equal to 2 power sin x whole square and let v is equal to sin x. Then du upon dx will be equal to 2 power sin x whole square into log base e square into 2 sin x cos x, and dv upon dx will be equals to cos x. Therefore, du upon dv will be equal to du upon dx divided by dv upon dx. So it will be equals to 2 power sin x whole square into log base e square into 2 sin x cos x whole divided by cos x. So this will be equals to sin x into 2 power sin x whole square into 2 log base e square. Therefore, we can say that the correct option for this question is option number A here. Moving on to the next question. What is the derivative of 2 power sin x whole square with respect to sin x? So let u is equal to 2 power sin x whole square into log base e square into 2 log base e square. Then du upon dx will be equal to 2 power sin x whole square into log base e square into 2 log base e square into 2 sin x cos x whole divided by cos x. So this will be equals to sin x into 2 power sin x whole square into 2 log base e square into 2 log base e square. Therefore, we can say that the correct option for this question is option number A here. Moving on to the next question. Moving on to the next question. For what value of k is the function f of x is equal to 2x plus 1 by 4 when x is less than 0, k when x is equal to 0 and continuous, x plus 1 by 2 whole square when x is greater than 0. So we have to find that for what value of k this function is continuous. A function is continuous when f of x is equal to left hand limit is equal to right hand limit. So first let us calculate left hand limit. Left hand limit will be equals to limit x tends to 0 minus f of x. So it will be equals to limit x tends to 0 minus 2x plus 1 by 4. So this will be equals to 2 into 0 plus 1 by 4, which is equal to 1 by 4. Now the right hand limit at x is equal to 0 will be limit x tends to 0 plus f of x. So it will be equals to limit x tends to 0 plus x plus 1 by 2 whole square. So this will be 0 plus 1 by 2 whole square, which is equal to 1 by 2 square, which is equal to 1 by 4. And we know that f of 0 will be equals to k. Since f of x is continuous at x is equal to 0, therefore we can say that f of 0 is equal to limit x tends to 0 minus f of x is equals to limit x tends to 0 plus f of x. So 1 by 4 is equal to 1 by 4 is equal to k. Therefore, k will be equals to 1 by 4. Hence, we can say that the correct option for this question is option number A. Next question is, what is the area of the curve enclosed between the curve y square is equal to 2x and the straight line y is equal to x? So before solving this question, first let us understand the diagram. Let this be the curve and let this be the straight line. So this is the area which we have to find. Consider this is M and this is P. This is y is equal to x and this is for the curve y square is equal to 2x. We know that the points will be 2, 2 and this is x-axis, y-axis, x dash and y dash, and this is O. Now, in equation 1, it is an equation of parabola in a standard form, and the equation y is equals to x is a straight line which is passing through the origin having slope. Then the point of intersection of both these equations will be x square is equal to 2x. So x square minus 2x is equal to 0. So taking x common, x minus 2 will be equal to 0. So we can say that either x will be equal to 0 or x will be equal to plus 2. Since we know that y is equal to x, therefore y will be equals to 2. Now the required area is area of the shaded region. So area will be equals to integral 0 to 2 y2 minus y1 dx. So it will be integral of 0 to 2 root 2x minus x dy. So it is equals to integral of 0 to 2 root 2x power 1 by 2 minus x and dx, which is equals to root 2 x power 3 by 2 divided by 3 by 2 minus x square upon 2, and the limits are 0 to 2. So it will be 2 root 2 upon 3 into 2 power 3 by 2 minus 4 by 2, which will be equals to 8 by 3 minus 2, which is equal to 8 minus 6 by 3, which gives 2 by 3. Hence, we can say that the correct answer for this question is 2 by 3. So, option number A is the correct option for this question here. Next question is a very, very interesting question. If f of x is equals to x cube upon 3 minus 5x square upon 2 plus 6x plus 7 increases in the interval t and decreases in the interval s, then which one of the following is correct? So first let us find f dash x. F dash x will be equals to x square minus 5x plus 6. So on factorizing it, this can be written as x square minus 3x minus 2x plus 6. We are using splitting the middle term method here. So taking x common from the first two terms, remaining terms will be x minus 3. Taking minus 2 common from the next two terms, remaining terms will be x minus 3. So the factors will be x minus 3 and x minus 2. Therefore, f dash x is equal to x minus 3 and x minus 2. Now let us look at the signs. This is 2 and this is 3. Here it is positive and here it is negative. Again here it is positive. This will be minus infinity and this will be plus infinity. So we can say that t will be equals to minus infinity comma 2 union 3 comma infinity, and s will be equals to 2 comma 3. Hence we can say that the correct option for this question is option number A here. I hope this question is clear to you. Next question is, a coin is biased so that heads comes up thrice as likely as tails. For 3 independent tosses of a coin, what is the probability of getting at most 2 tails? So the concept which we have to use here is that there are 3 independent events. Therefore, P of A intersection B intersection C will be equal to P of A into P of B into P of C. Now it is given that coin is biased heads comes up thrice as likely as tails. Therefore, probability of heads will be equal to 3 by 4 and probability of tails will be equals to 1 by 4. Now let t be a random variable for the number of tails for 3 independent tosses. So p of t is equal to 0 will be p of h, h and h, which is equal to 3 by 4 whole cube, which gives 27 upon 64. Similarly, p of t is equal to 1 will be equal to p of h, h, t, t, h, h and h, t, h. So it will be equals to 3 into 3 by 4 into 3 by 4 into 1 by 4, which is equal to 27 upon 64. Again, P of t is equal to 2 will be P of TTH, THT and HTT. So it will be equals to 3 into 1 by 4 into 1 by 4 into 3 by 4. Again, it will be equals to 9 upon 64. Therefore, P of t less than equals to 2 will be P of t is equal to 0 plus P of t is equal to 1 plus P of t is equal to 2. So this will be equals to 27 upon 64 plus 27 upon 64 plus 9 upon 64. So this will be equals to 63 upon 64 and approximately it will be equal to 0.98. Therefore, we can say that the correct option for this question is option number D here. Next question is also from the probability. A bag contains 20 books, out of which 5 are defective. If 3 of the books are selected at random and removed from the bag in succession without replacement, then what is the probability that all the 3 books are defective? So the required probability will be 5 upon 20 into 4 upon 19 into 3 upon 18. So this will be cancelled. Again, this will be cancelled and 4 will be cancelled. So it will be 1 upon 114, which is approximately equal to 0.0087, which is again equal to 0.009. Hence, we can say that the correct option for this question is option number A here. Moving on to the next question. The median of the observations 22, 24, 33, 37, x plus 1, x plus 3, 46, 47, 57 and 58 in ascending order is 42. What are the values of 5th and 6th observation respectively? So the data is given here 22, 24, 33, 37 x plus 1, x plus 3, 46, 47, 57 and 58. So 42 will be equals to x plus 1 plus x plus 3 divided by 2. Therefore, 42 will be equals to 2x plus 4 divided by 2, which implies 42 is equal to x plus 2. Therefore, we can say that x will be equal to 40. So, x plus 1 will be equal to 40 plus 1, which is 41. And x plus 3 will be equals to 40 plus 3, which is 43. Hence, we can say that the values of fifth and sixth observation is 41 and 43. So, the correct option here is option number B. Next question is arithmetic mean of 10 observations is 60 and sum of squares of deviations from 50 is 5000. What is the standard deviation of the observations? So we know that the standard deviation, which is represented by SD, is equals to under root of summation of di square upon n minus summation of di upon n whole square. We know that n is equal to 10, x bar is equal to 60, which is the mean, and summation of xi is equal to 600. Therefore, di will be xi minus 50. Summation of di will be equal to summation of xi minus 50 into n. So, summation of di will be equal to 600 minus 500, which is equal to 100. Therefore, summation of di square will be equal to 5000. It is already given in the question. So, standard deviation will be equals to under root of 5000 divided by 10 minus 100 divided by 10 whole square. So, it will be equals to under root of 500 minus 100, which is equal to under root of 400, which is equals to 20. Therefore, we can say that the correct answer for this question is option number A, which is 20. Next question is, if P and Q are the roots of the equation x square minus 30x plus 221 is equal to 0, what is the value of PQ plus QQ? So, by factorizing this equation, it can be written as x square minus 13x minus 17x plus 221 is equal to 0. Taking x common from the first two terms, remaining terms will be x minus 13. Taking minus 17 common from the next two terms, remaining terms will be x minus 13. So the factors will be x minus 13 and x minus 17. So x will be equals to 13 or x will be equals to 17. It is given that P and Q are the roots of the equation. Then P will be equal to 13 and Q will be equal to 17. So P cube plus Q cube will be equals to 13 cube plus 17 cube, which is equals to 2197 plus 4913. So it will be equals to 7110. Hence we can say that this is the required answer for this question. And the correct option is option number B here. Next question is for the variables x and y, the two regression lines 6x plus y is equal to 30 and 3x plus 2y is equal to 25. What are the values of x, y and r respectively? So, let this be equation number 1. Let this be equation number 2. Multiplying by 2 in equation 1, we get 12x plus 2y is equal to 60. Let this be equation number 3. Now, 9x is equal to 35. So, x will be equal to 35 by 9. Similarly, 3y is equal to 20. So, y will be equal to 20 by 3. And x will be equals to minus y by 6 plus 5. Also, y will be equals to minus 3x by 2 plus 25 by 2. Therefore, sigma xy will be equal to minus 1 by 6 and sigma yx will be equals to minus 3 by 2. We know that gamma is equal to plus minus under root of sigma xy into sigma yx. So now we have the values for both this sigma xy and sigma yx. So on substituting this, gamma will be equals to minus of under root of minus 1 by 6 into minus 3 by 2. So it will be equals to 1 by 2, which is equal to minus of 0.5. Since a negative sign is present here, therefore we can say that the values of x, y and r is respectively 35 by 9, 20 by 3 and minus 0.5. Therefore, the correct option here is option number C. Next question is the class mark in a frequency table are given to be 5, 10, 15, 20, 25, 30, 35, 40, 45 and 50. The class limits of the first 5 classes are. We know that the mean will be 4.4 and the variance will be 8.24. Now let us check the mean for the given values. First part is 9 and 16. So x bar will be equal to 1 plus 2 plus 6 plus 9 plus 16 divided by 5. So it will be equals to 6.8. It is not correct. Now second option will be x bar is equal to 1 plus 2 plus 6 plus 9 plus 4 by 5. So it will be equals to 22 upon 5, which is equal to 4.4. Therefore, we can say that the class limits of the first 5 classes will be 2.5 to 7.5, then 7.5 to 12.5, then 12.5 to 17.5, 17.5 to 22.5 and 22.5 to 27.5. So the correct option here is option number B. I hope this question is clear to you. Next question is the mean of 5 observations is 4.4 and the variance is 8.24. If the 5 of the observations are 1, 2 and 6, then what are the other 2 observations? So let the 2 observations be x and y. So we can say that x bar, which is mean, is equal to 4.4 and the data here is 1 plus 2 plus 6 plus x plus y divided by 5 is equal to 4.4. So 9 plus x plus y will be equal to 22, or x plus y will be equal to 22 minus 9, which is equal to 13. Let this be equation number 1. We know that variance is also given in the question, which is 8.24. It implies 1 by 5 into 1 square plus 2 square plus 6 square plus x square plus y square minus mean square is equal to 8.24. So 1 by 5 into 1 plus 4 plus 36 plus x square plus y square minus 4.4 square will be equal to 8.24. Therefore, we can say that 1 by 5 into 41 plus x square plus y square minus 19.36 will be equal to 8.24. So 1 by 5 into 41 plus x square plus y square will be equal to 8.24 plus 19.36. So it will be 27.60. Now 41 plus x square plus y square will be equals to 27.60 into 5, which is equal to 138. So x square plus y square will be 138 minus 41, which is equal to 97. Now x plus y whole square plus x minus y whole square will be equal to 2 into x square plus y square. So 169 plus x minus y whole square is equal to 2 into 97. Therefore, x minus y whole square will be equal to 194 minus 169, which is equal to 25. And x minus y will be equal to plus minus 5. Let this be equation number 2. From equation 1 and 2, we get x minus y is equal to 5. Therefore, 2x is equal to 18. So, x will be equal to 9. And 2y is equal to 8. So, y will be equals to 4. So, the points are 9, comma 4. Now, if x minus y is equal to minus 5 and 2x is equal to 8, then we can say that x will be equal to 4. And if 2y is equal to 18, then y will be equals to 9. Hence, the remaining two observations are 9 and 4 or 4 and 9. Therefore, we can say that the correct option for this question is option number B here, which is 9 and 4. I hope this question is clear to you. Next question is, if a coin is tossed till the first head appears, then what will be the sample space? So, the sample space says about only when one head appears. So, you can see that in option D, there is single head in the first part. In the second part, also single head. In the third part, there are two tails and single head. And in the last part, there are three tails and single head. So, we can say that the correct option for this question will be option number D here. Moving on to the next question, consider the following discrete frequency distribution. What is the value of the median of the distribution? So, the values are given here, x and f. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 and 8. F is given, which is 3, 15, 45, 57, 50, 36, 25 and 9. And let us find the cumulative frequency. It will be 3, 18, 63, 120, 170, 206, 231 and 240. So, summation of f will be equals to 240 here, which is equal to n. Therefore, n by 2 will be equals to 240 by 2, which is equal to 120. Now, the cumulative frequency just greater than n by 2 is 170. It is greater than 120. Therefore, the corresponding value of the variable x will be 5. You can see that here the value of x is 5. So, we can say that the median is 5. Hence, the correct option for this question is option number B here, which is 5. Next question is, two dice are thrown simultaneously. What is the probability that the sum of the numbers appearing on them is a prime number? We know that when two dice are thrown, the sample space n of s will be 1, 1, 1, 2, 1, 3, 1, 4, 1, 5, 1, 6, 2, 1, similarly up to 6, 6. So the total number of observations will be 36 because 6 into 6 is 36. So n of s is equal to 36. Now, let A be an event which gets the sum of prime number, and we know that prime numbers are 2, 3, 5, 7 and 11. So, if A is the event of getting the sum as the prime number, then A will be equals to 1, 1, 1, 2, 2, 1, 1, 4, 4, 1, 2, 3, 3, 2, 1, 6, and 6, 1, 2, 5, 5, 2, 3, 4, 4, 3, 6, 5, and 5, 6. So we can see that the favorable number of events which consist of the sum of prime numbers is 15 here. So n of A is equal to 15. Therefore, the required probability will be equals to 15 upon 36, which is equal to 5 by 12. Hence, we can say that the correct option for this question is option number A here. Next question is, if 5 of a company's 10 delivery trucks do not meet emission standards and 3 of them are chosen for inspection, then what is the probability that none of the trucks chosen will meet emission standards? So, the required probability will be 5C3 divided by 10C3. So, it will be 5 into 4 into 3 factorial divided by 10 into 9 into 8. So, now cancelling these terms, 4 and 8 will be cancelled and 5 and 10 will be cancelled. So, it will be 1 upon 3 into 4, which is equal to 1 upon 12. Hence, we can say that the required probability is 1 by 12. So, the correct option is option number C here. Next question is, there are 3 coins in a box. One is a two-headed coin, another is a pair coin, and third is biased coin that comes up head 75% of the time. When one of the 3 coins is selected at random and flipped, it shows heads. What is the probability that it was a two-headed coin? So, the probability of the event by A will be equals to P of E1 into P of A upon E1 divided by P of E1 into P of A upon E1 plus P of E2 into P of A upon E2 plus P of E3 into P upon A upon E3. So, on substituting the values, this will be equals to 1 by 3 into 1 divided by 1 by 3 into 1 plus 1 by 3 into 1 by 2 plus 1 by 3 into 3 by 4. So this will be equals to 1 by 3 divided by 1 by 3 into 1 plus 1 by 2 plus 3 by 4. 1 by 3 and 1 by 3 will be cancelled. So it will be 1 upon 1 plus 1 by 2 plus 3 by 4. On further adding this value, it will be 1 upon 4 plus 2 plus 3 divided by 4. So it will be equals to 4 upon 4 plus 2 plus 3, which is equal to 4 upon 9. Hence, we can say that the required probability is 4 by 9. So the correct option is option number C here. I hope this question is clear to you. Moving on to the next question, consider the following statements. If A and B are mutually exclusive events, then it is possible that P of A is equal to P of B is equal to 0.6. Second statement is, if A and B are any two events such that P of A by B is equal to 1, which is the conditional probability, then P of B complement by A complement is also equals to 1. So looking for the statement 1, if A and B are mutually exclusive events, then P of A intersection B will be equal to 0. And we know that P of A union B is equals to P of A plus P of B minus P of A intersection B. So it will be equals to 0.6 plus 0.6, which is equal to 1.2. It is greater than 1. Therefore, we can say that the first statement is not correct. Now, looking for the second statement, it is given that P of A by B is equals to 1. As we know that P of A by B is equals to P of A intersection B divided by P of B. So it is equals to 1. So we can say that B is a subset of equivalent set of A. So P of B complement upon A complement will be equals to P of A complement intersection B divided by P of A complement. So it will be P of A union B whole complement divided by P of A complement, which will be equals to P of A complement divided by P of A complement, which is equals to 1. Hence, we can say that statement 2 is correct. Therefore, the correct option is option number B, which is 2 only. Next question is, if a fair die is rolled 4 times, then what is the probability that there are exactly 2 6s? It is given that a fair die is rolled 4 times. So n is equal to 4 here. Now, probability of 1 6 will be equal to 1 by 6. Let this be equal to P. And probability of not 1 6 will be equal to 1 minus 1 by 6, which is equal to 5 by 6. Let this be equal to Q. Therefore, probability of exactly 2 6 will be 4C2 into P square into Q square. So it will be 4 factorial upon 2 factorial into 2 factorial into 1 by 6 power 2 into 5 by 6 power 2. So on further solving this, it will be 4 into 3 into 2 into 1 divided by 2 into 2 into 1 upon 6 square into 5 square upon 6 square. So this will be equals to 6 into 25 divided by 6 square into 6 cube. So this will be equals to 25 divided by 6 into 6 square. So this will be equals to 25 upon 216. Hence we can say that the correct option here is option number B. Next question is mean of 100 observations is 50 and standard deviation is 10. If 5 is added to each observation, then what will be the new mean and new standard deviation respectively? So it is given that total there are 100 observations. So n is equal to 100 and x bar, which is mean, it is equal to 50. Standard deviation, which is sigma, is 10. And if 5 is added to each observation, then new mean will be 50 plus 5, which is 55. And standard deviation remains 10 only. Therefore, we can say that the correct option here will be option number C, which is 55, 10. Next question is, if the range of a set of observations on a variable x is known to be 25, and if y is equal to 40 plus 3x, then what is the range of the set of the corresponding observations on y? So it is given that x is equal to 25. Putting the value of x here, y will be equals to 40 plus 3 into 25. So y will be equals to 40 plus 75. So y will be equals to 115. Therefore, the required difference will be 115 minus 40. So it will be equals to 75. Hence, we can say that the correct option for this question is option number C, which is 75. I hope this question is clear to you. Next question is also a very important question. This kind of question always comes in the exam. If V is the variance and M is the mean of first 15 natural numbers, then what is V plus M square equal to? We know that standard deviation is equals to under root of summation of xi minus x bar whole square divided by n. Here xi is equals to 1, 2, 3, 4, so on up to 15, because the question says that first 15 natural numbers. So mean will be equals to 15 into 16 divided by 15 into 2. So this will be equals to 8. Now xi minus x bar will be equals to minus 7, minus 6, minus 5, minus 4, so on up to 5, 6 and 7. So xi minus x bar whole square will be 7 square, 6 square, 5 square, so on up to again 6 square and 7 square. Since it is a square, so we have ignored the negative sign here. So summation of xi minus x bar whole square will be 2 into 1 square plus 2 square plus 3 square plus so on up to 7 square. So it will be 2 into 7 into 8 into 15 divided by 6. So 2 and 6 will be cancelled. Again 3 and 15 will be cancelled. So this will be 7 into 8 into 5. 7 into 40. So it will be 280. Therefore, standard deviation will be equals to under root of 280 divided by 15. So it will be equals to 56 upon 3. So we say that sigma will be equals to under root of 56 upon 3. Now we have to calculate the variance, and we know that variance is the square of standard deviation. So sigma square will be equal to 56 upon 3. Now we have to calculate the value for variance plus mean square. So 56 upon 3 plus mean is 8, square will be equal to 56 plus 64 divided by 3. So it will be 56 plus 192 divided by 3. So it will be 248 by 3. Hence we can say that the correct option for this question is option number C, which is 248 upon 3. I hope this question is clear to you. Next question is, a car travels first 60 kilometer at a speed of 3 kilometer per hour and travels next 60 kilometer at 2v kilometer per hour. What is the average speed of the car? We know that average speed is equals to 2xy upon x plus y. So it will be 2 into 3v into 2v divided by 3v plus 2v kilometer per hour. So this will be 12v square divided by 5v kilometer per hour. So this will be equals to 2.4 kilometer per hour. Therefore, we can say that the correct option here is option number B. Next question is, the mean weight of 150 students in a certain class is 60 kilogram. The mean weight of boys is 70 kilogram and that of girls is 55 kilogram. What are the number of boys and girls respectively in the class? So, let the number of boys be x, then the number of girls will be 150 minus x because total there are 150 students. Therefore, 150 into 60 will be equal to x into 70 plus 150 minus x into 55. So 9,000 will be equal to 70x plus 8,250 minus 55x. So 9,000 will be equals to 15x plus 8,250. So 15x will be equals to 9,000 minus 8,250. Therefore, we can say that 15x will be equals to 750 and x will be equal to 750 upon 15. So this will be equals to 50. Therefore, we can say that the number of boys is equal to 50 and number of girls will be 150 minus x and x is 50. So it will be 150 minus 50. So this will be 100. So the number of boys is 50 and the number of girls is 100. Hence the correct option is option number B here. I hope this question is clear to you. Keep learning more and keep scoring high.